Didn't come on yet. Come on, brake light. Come on, low pressure light. You can do it. Do it again. Don't act all mysterious. Just gotta act mysterious now. Just can't even. Nothing like flicking you out, huh? Is it just the engine need to warm up? Alright, let's pause this. So just driving around still, trying to get the temperature of this beast up to at least where I normally see it. And still there's no light coming on yet, which is sort of disappointing to a certain degree, because I don't want to have any false positives before I replace the sensor. I was having it cut out on me. Well, not actually, I say it cut out on me. The light would come on. The oil pressure light would come on when I revved the engine up. Well, I revved it up to around 12 to 1800, so it would come on, and it would stay on for a little while after I let off the gas, let it idle for a little bit, and it would go off on its own. Then I'd hit it a little bit, and then it would come right back on. I thought I saw something flicker, and that's the thing. It would flicker. It'd have a little bit of the brake light. I say brake light, oil pressure light come on. It would just flicker on, and sometimes it would flicker on and it wouldn't make a noise, and sometimes it would flicker on and then it would stay on for just a second and then go ding, ding. And I don't see it now. I was going probably around 55 or 60 or so. That something came on. What was that thing? What was that thing? I don't see anything. It's not saying anything. I don't see anything. There's no light. What's up with that? Don't see a light. Not a light at all. But maybe I missed it. Maybe it came on and flickered on while I was looking away. So anyway, maybe we're... No, it's still fucking dinging it. No, there's nothing. No. Oh, yep, I did see it this time. Just for giggles, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to open the hood and just pull the connector off and try this again. Okay, so it's hot as hell in there. I had to use a little a pry bar, just a little one, to get down there and just kind of slide the connector off. So connector's off. Let's see what happens without even connected at all. The connector is not on at all. It's not on the sensor at all. Not on the oil pressure sensor. Switch, sensor, whatever we're going to call that thing. So now here we are, we're revving. Revving up. We're going 2000. What? How in the hell? How in the hell is that working? Huh. What the hell is that all about? What's the dealio with that? Is there more than one switch? More than one sensor? I don't really see it in the manuals. You'd think if it was not connected, it would just be saying all kinds of shit about this not working right. Ah. Is the switch shorted out? I mean, is the cable shorted out? Huh. What the fuck is that about? Huh. Well, I'm completely baffled now. I have no idea what the heck this is. It's like, won't register it at all. Huh. Yeah, that was with neutral. Bonkers. Completely fucking bonkers. What does that mean? Is the switch normally open or normally closed? If it's normally open, you would think that once you got up to the operating testing of the pressure, which the service manual says 1850 RPMs, that it would measure 30 to 45 pounds per square inch. So if I'm moving this needle on the RPM gauge well past 2000 and that switch is not even freaking connected anymore, why would it not throw up a red flag? What's up with that? That's weird. So here is a new switch, and I've got it connected, and it is, for all practical purposes, it is a closed switch with 0.1 ohms of resistance, meaning that its normal operating in a closed, enclosed switch format, or whatever you want, closed switch contact. So it's normally closed. So my assumption is that if it is normally closed, when it's got no pressure on it, then it'll be open. Okay, and that sounds fine. So when the switch is inside the engine and it is holding pressure against it, it's going to be open. And if it fails, then if it fails to hold the pressure, then it's going to be closed. Which doesn't sound like a great design to me. Not really. I don't know. Doesn't seem like the right way to do that. Seems like you would want it to be normally open and then go to closed whenever it's reached the right pressure, so that if the cable ever gets broken and the connection's not good anymore, then it would show a red flag and say, hey, there's something wrong. I don't know, I'm not liking this. This doesn't seem right. But so what I'll end up having to do is, once the engine cools off, I'm gonna take the old sensor out very carefully and try not to knock it around too much, just in case I can catch it in the state where it is in an open state when I test it. But that's where I'm headed. So I'm gonna stop this video and I'll come back later after it's cooled off some. Alright, so I pulled out the old sensor and it works just like the new one. It is normally closed and it will open whenever pressure is applied to it. And it took me a little bit to get something that I could apply pressure to it. And I know you're probably wondering, well, why don't you just do a pressure check of your engine and get it over with so that you know if it's running right or not. But I can't find an end with an adapter for this. I went to 4 different auto parts stores and they just don't have it. And I'm not really sure what size that is exactly. I mean, I know how to use a measuring device. I mean, I can see that, but when I look for the adapters, they have letters like M in front of them and 1 through 30 or something like that, and then 1.5, and I don't know what this is. I think it might be M28, but I'm not really sure, and I can't find any definitive place that says, hey, this is the one that fits your car. So what I've done to test this is to use a engine pressure test kit, which is basically what you use to test like caps for your coolant, the coolant caps. So it's got a little pump, a little dude like this right here that gives a gauge, and it goes up to like 28 to 30. So that's the low end. 30 is the low end for this car's pounds per square inch for it to be in its normal operating at 1850 RPMs. Okay, that's cool. Whatever. So I tested the new switch with this. I've got a little nipple on it that so I could press it down into the little hole. See the little hole there? And I had it in a vise. You see the vise? See the vise? And I just held it on there so that it wasn't leaking and pumped it full of 30 pounds of pressure, and of course it went off the switch went in the not connected state or the off state like immediately in the new switch, and it stayed off until it dropped down to about 2 pounds of pressure, and that's the new switch. And the big buildup is, what did it do with the old switch? Well, it did the same thing. Same exact thing. Not any difference at all. So it appears that the switch is okay. Sometimes. And sometimes not, maybe. So that's the funky part. What's happening in the switch that causes it to short out so that it's looking like it's closed, or that it's in a closed state, but it's failing in a closed state for some reason. And the reason why, when I revved up the engine without it plugged to the sensor, is because it operates in the normally closed state. And when the engine is running, it's got pressure against the switch, which turns the switch into the off state, which looks like everything is fine, there's pressure applied, because that's why the switch is off. Well, that sounds great, except for if the cable ever gets pulled loose, or the cable breaks, or, that's the worst case scenario, basically. Well, not the worst case. Worst case would be your pump is completely toast and your engine seizes. But so the switch appears to be working okay. So a little test I did was to put the old switch back in, plug it, just put it all back in there, and then plug the new switch dangling off to the side in its normal closed state with no pressure applied. And I got in the car, started it up, no light yet, but I revved it up like I did the other day when it was having some trouble. And guess what? Yes, the oil pressure light came on. Haha! There we are. So maybe I'll be lucky and this new sensor will be fine and there won't be any other issues. Otherwise, it very well could be that I have an oil pump going out. I've heard that it's not that likely, so the sensor's probably going to be it. So the next thing I'm going to do is put the bloody new oil sensor in there and drive that car around town and see if I can get it to fail again. And of course, I'm hoping it doesn't fail again, because that would tell me that the pump is okay. And that would be joyous. I would love that. Anyway, I shall let you know how it goes on this voyage, this maiden voyage of the new oil pressure sensor, or oil pressure switch. Bye, guys. Can you see it down there? The little green piece is the connector connecting to the oil pressure center or oil pressure switch. It's all plugged in right there, and if you look over, you can see here's our oil filter. Just letting you know. Okay. And then I'm going to rev up the engine and see if the light comes on. Here we go. Alright, dropping it back down. Speed it back up again. Nothing. Okay, cool. Alright, well, I'm gonna just stop this video and go drive around a little bit. And I did look at the connection to make sure that I've got it really truly connected good. So if the switch is ever in the closed state, which means it's failed, that it actually is going to show that the oil pressure is low. So let's just hope that everything is, all the connections really are working right, which I don't like that design, but okay, never mind. We're just gonna go do our maiden voyage. So it seems to work fine as far as the lights not coming on. So the tests are showing that it's working fine. I don't know. I guess really the only true way to verify is just take time to see if it glitches out or anything in the next month or so when I drive it around. But I suspect, though, like many people that have replaced the sensor because of this issue, that it'll just be just like that. That'll be it. Probably won't see it again for maybe 5-6 years, or might end up going to the boneyard with it working fine. Who knows? Time will tell. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope it's been sort of entertaining, and even with the swearing that happened earlier. I really do. I apologize if it offended someone. So sorry about that.